don't blink, because the moment you do, the truth slips through the cracks. It begins not with thunder, not with prophecy, but with a name spoken through fog, a name that rewrites destiny. You can address me as the fool. And that single declaration becomes the axis where three fates pivot. Audrey Hall's breath catches in delight and fear. Alger Wilson's composure cracks just enough to reveal awe. And Joe Mingrui, the man behind the mask, pretends to wear power while secretly drowning in uncertainty. That's the trap's first design, the hook, power that looks absolute, but is hanging by a thread. Audrey bows, Alger follows. And there it is, a hierarchy born in a place where no hierarchy should exist. The trade is simple, almost meaningless on the surface. Ghost shark blood for a potion formula. But what is truly exchanged is far more dangerous. Trust, secrecy, and the seed of a pact none of them fully understands. Audrey offers curiosity. Alger offers ambition. Both offer loyalty. And Klein, still pretending to be someone he doesn't believe he deserves to be, accepts. He knows the risk. Every gathering gives him knowledge, but every gathering sharpens the blade aimed at his heart. Yet he says it anyway, because he has no choice. I'm a person who likes a fair and equal exchange. That calm confidence is a lie, but a necessary one. Audrey glows with excitement when she suggests aliases. Tarot names. Roles to play. The fool approves with terrifying ease. And just like that, identities crystallize that will echo across history. The fool. Justice. The hanged man. Three strangers sitting at an impossible table, bound by curiosity and fear and ambition, and none of them fully understanding the magnitude of what they're building. The loop tightens, because here's the paradox. The ones who believe they're joining a secret society are not the ones in control. The one who seems to rule them is the one most vulnerable. Audrey watches with fascination, almost unable to hide her joy. Alger explains divination like a scholar explaining fire, controlled, careful, precise. But one spark changes everything. Audrey mentions Emperor Roselle and the 22 secret cards. Alger confirms. And suddenly the air isn't curiosity anymore. It's weight. Ancient, forbidden weight. The 22 paths of the divine, he says. And Klein feels reality cracking at the edges. Pain floods him. The world trembles. The fog, once his sanctuary, now feels like a collapsing ceiling. He ends the gathering, abruptly, without ceremony. Crimson starlight swallows it all. And then, sunlight, the most mundane thing imaginable. But what can sunlight do against the terror of realizing you've stepped into a labyrinth that swallows minds whole? He sits alone in his small apartment, massaging his temples, not the fool anymore, just a terrified young man trying to breathe. He whispers to himself like someone trying to steady shaking hands. From this moment forth, I'm Klein. And then, in the strangest moment of dark humor, a laugh. A small, absurd observation. Isn't this just a social networking platform? That is the heart of the trap, the loop. Klein can't escape the fog, can't escape the role, can't escape the escalating miracles that feel more like curses every time he opens his eyes. But the world outside him doesn't pause, because while Klein battles fear, Alger battles the sea. The man who bowed to the fool wakes up surrounded by storm and death, a ghost ship drifting in eternal tempest. No crew, no warmth, no sanity. Alger walks into the captain's cabin and hears a desperate cry, "I will not give in." And in response, Alger doesn't hesitate. Scales shimmer across his hand, one act of brutal force. The captain dies, the body disappears into the sea like a sacrifice demanded by the storm. Then with the ease of a practiced liar, Alger reports, the captain escaped. No guilt, no hesitation, just ambition wrapped in calm. His ship repairs itself without hands. Wood bends and heals like flesh. And Alger, staring into the storm, whispers into the roaring wind, a new era has begun. He's not talking about warships or governments. He's talking about the fool. Far away, Audrey steps out of her carriage and watches history rip the world open. An ironclad. Steel, cannons, armor thick enough to swallow nightmares. Wooden warships, the pride of nations, look like toys beside it. Then a shadow eclipses the sky. A massive airship descends like a mechanical god. Cavalry in black armor stand as if carved from divine judgment. Audrey isn't thinking of royalty or power. She is thinking of a terrifying truth. The world is changing, violently, and no one can stop it. Prime Minister Negan's voice shakes the earth. Statistics like cannon fire, 305mm guns, 457mm armor, 10,000 tons of iron designed for one mission. It will conquer the seas. And then the execution. Cannons thunder across the water. An island explodes under the barrage. Negan's verdict cuts the air. Doomsday will fall on the 7 pirate admirals and the 4 kings. It is the end of their era. Humanity has built a monster to hunt monsters, and Audrey watches stunned as a new age, an age of iron and steam, crushes the old world under its heel. But while nations roar, Klein's battlefield is a tiny room with a boiling pot. Mysticism nearly killed him, but hunger brings him back to Earth. He eats potatoes like a man who hasn't tasted comfort in months. He softens bread in salted water, a memory from childhood. For a fleeting moment, he is human again. Warmth replaces fear. For a fleeting moment, he belongs to the ordinary world. But the trap doesn't release its prey, because after food comes resolve. He turns back to the notebooks, the ones Welch once handled. Notes about ancient epochs, cryptic references to the Dark Emperor. The Antigonus family. A journey to the nation of the Evernight. And finally, the missing final sentence he had glimpsed before transmigrating. Everyone will die, including me. Then, knock, knock, knock. A frozen heartbeat. Klein grabs the revolver, then a voice. Bitch Mountbatten, police. 4 officers step inside. 3 are inspectors, their authority heavy as chains. One question detonates everything. Do you know Welch McGovern? Klein's mask shatters instantly. What's wrong with him? And the answer cleaves the floor beneath him. Mr. Welch has passed away. He screams. What? Not faked, not acted. Shock rips straight through him. But the next blow lands with the same brutality. Ms. Naya passed away too. 2 friends, 2 scholars connected to the ancient notebook, 2 deaths mirroring Klein's own. The trap is no longer symbolic, it is literal. One inspector says it calmly, like someone describing the weather. Mr. Welch hit the wall with his head. Mr. Naya drowned herself in a basin. No struggle, no drugs, no explanation. Only madness, methodical madness. And now they want to know, when was the last time Klein saw them? His heart drums inside his ribs. And then the worst possible moment, an inspector casually picks up his notebook, reads the final sentence. Everyone will die, including me. That line sits like a loaded gun on the table. If Klein lies clumsily, he dies. If he tells the full truth, he dies. So he chooses neither. He chooses a weapon far more effective, vulnerability, a claim of forgotten memory, a confused breakdown, a man who clearly doesn't understand why he wrote those words. Mountbatten laughs angrily. Do you think we are fools? But the gray-eyed inspector studies Klein like a scientist studies rare phenomena. Maybe it is. The room shifts. They stop looking at him like a suspect. They start looking at him like a survivor. They warn him, an expert will assess him in 2 days. Someone who can help recall lost memories. That phrase might as well be a death sentence. Because if those memories surface, memories that aren't the original Klein's, everything ends. They search the room. They almost lift the kettle hiding the gun. But they don't. The door closes. The silence feels like a cliff. Then the final twist of the knife. The last inspector pats Klein's shoulder, his voice almost kind. It's really nice. Very lucky. Generally, the norm is for all the involved parties to die in such an event.